Hi, welcome to Business Influencers. I'm your host, Chris Salem, and welcome. If this is your first time here at Business Influencers, we welcome you here to TALRadio. And again, we've been here with TALRadio for now almost 4 years. It's hard to believe that we started back when COVID was starting. And my God, time has flown by. But we want to thank all the loyal listeners that have been with us here at Business Influencers during that time. And any of you new listeners that are welcomed here, including the other hosts and shows that we have on the Touch of Life Foundation called TALRadio.org. Again, you can also listen to our show on Apple, Spotify, and our video portion of the show on YouTube. So we highly encourage you to check us out on all those 4 different platforms, whatever works best for you to listen to the show. And each and every week we bring in a subject matter expert sharing their words of insights and wisdom to help elevate you and your level of influence to the next level. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program, taking out all the noise out of social media. No more of those noisy notifications. You get to come in, generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. And if you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, just check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. We've got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about Awakening the Healer Within. And this is actually from a new book from somebody I personally know very, very well. We're going to be here today with MarBeth Dunn. And before we introduce her, I'll give you a little background. She is a leading expert in somatic healing and intuitive energy mastery. For over 35 years, she has helped empaths, sensitives, and high-achieving women release stress, anxiety, and trauma by reconnecting with their bodies and regulating their nervous systems. She's the author of Awakening the Healer Within, Overcome Stress, Anxiety, and Illness. MarBeth was featured as a mentor in the movie Bernie's Journey and as an expert in the upcoming films The Frequency of Miracles, The Art of Manifestation, and The Frequency of Longevity. MarBeth's signature methods blend somatic intelligence, energy work, and spiritual insight, empowering others to heal from inside out and create calm, clarity, and emotional resilience in everyday life. And she has also been featured on Fox, NBC, CBS, and the CW. And without further ado, we welcome MarBeth Dunn to the show. MarBeth, how you doing?
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here with you, Chris. It has been a while since I've been on your show.
Yes, it has been. It's been a while, but we are glad that you are back and, to share your insights and wisdom with us here today. There are so many people out there, women, men, does not matter, all ages, that are hurting in some way, whether if it's the physical body, the mental, emotional side of things, spiritual, so many different things. And I know, you are an expert in this somatic healing and intuitive energy work that you do. Let's just talk about maybe some of the things what's happening right now. Are there a lot of people just, looking for answers right now when it comes to healing, and instead of just always seeking it from outside things like pills and other gadgets, that we can now heal ourselves from within. If you could kind of give us a kind of a foundation of what you're going to share with us here today.
Absolutely. Well, somatic healing comes from the word soma, which is about your body. And our bodies hold all of our emotions. They hold stress and anxiety. Anybody who's ever been anxious, I don't know of many people who have ever been anxious or stressed or have experienced trauma of some sort. You know that your body reacts to that and it holds that within it. And it also communicates with you in a particular language. And we can learn to understand that language. And not only does it help you to release any stress or anxiety, which is not that difficult to do, believe it or not. And we can also learn the language of the body and learn to access our intuition through connecting with the body. So it's really so handy and helpful for so many things.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that as a foundation, and, share with us, like people now, are, that might be seeking now some answers. And, going within might be something they're not familiar with, or it might be scary. But why a lot of times, a lot of the answers to our issues are, well, they could start from within, obviously, but we also have to go within in order to heal ourselves. If you could share your insights from your experience and studies in the area.
Well, I'm going to give you an example of something that happened to me about a year ago. I was in Las Vegas with my family, and we had a wonderful time. The night before we were leaving, I woke up around 3 a.m, and I felt like I was coming down with the flu. And I really did. I was coughing up crap.
Yeah.
It's the technical word for it. And I had a sore throat, and I felt awful. So I started to get up to make some hibiscus tea and take some elderberry and zinc and the whole rigmarole that you do when you want to try to protect yourself from coming down with something. And then I stopped and I said, wait a minute, let me check in with what's going on with my body. And I said, what I'm feeling is physical. And basically it said no. I said, what I'm feeling is based on emotional causes. And yes. So I realized that I was feeling grief about separating with my family. And because my family and I, when I was growing up, we never really expressed our feelings. I didn't know how to do that growing up. So I repressed my emotions. And so my body was saying, hey, you have some emotions here you need to look at. So I stopped. I sat down on the bed and I closed my eyes and I went inward to my chest where I was feeling these pangs of emotion that I had thought were physical illness. And as I focused on it, it started to dissolve just as I stayed with it. And I was surrounding it with love, which is always the greatest healer. And the feelings dissolved in my chest. I went back to sleep. I never got sick. And when I woke in the morning, I was able to express these feelings to my family who were also feeling the same feelings. So that was just one way of the body communicating that, hey, you got something here you need to look at.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. Love it. And it's so true. A lot of times, I look at my father. My father passed away at the age of 56. Now this is a number of years ago now. I'm 58. I'm older than he is now when he died. 2 years. He died in December of 1999. And, I believe my father's cancer was a manifestation of all the emotion that he never expressed. He just stuffed it. And stuffed it and stuffed it and stuffed it to the point where you couldn't stuff it anymore. It was it's got to come out somewhere. And well, in this case, obviously it wreaked havoc on his body. And sure enough, he didn't live even the diagnosis that they gave him, like how long he would live. He didn't even get nowhere near it. I mean, he went a lot quicker than that. So with that being said, it is so, so true. What would you say, like people that are, listening now that are like, wow, I've never I've heard about this, but I've never really looked into it, and it's a little scary. What would be that first step that you would recommend they take?
Great question, Chris. And there are so many ways to start to connect with your body. And I don't know that this is going to be the obvious choice for many of your listeners. I began with a pendulum, and the pendulum, I'll show it to you here. And it doesn't, I don't know that the camera really likes it moving. So, but you can see the pendulum does swing on its own, and it's not me moving it. When it moves I ask yes or no questions. If it moves in a clockwise circle, which it does on its own, because that's my subconscious talking, then that's a yes. And a no for me would be sideways, left and right, back and forth. Yeah. And then I don't know would be forward and back. And I don't want to answer is counterclockwise circle. So I have that safety built. I don't, but the pendulum has the safety built in. So if it doesn't want to answer something, you don't want to force it. Yeah. You can ask yes or no questions. And it was very enlightening for me when I first began to connect with what was happening inside me. Now, these days, this was a long time ago. I was living on a mountaintop in Haiti, and I didn't really have access to very much. I was pretty much flying by the seat of my pants. But meditation is very good for just, spending time with yourself. And it may be difficult for you to sit down and be still and meditate, but you can walk out in nature and just allow your senses to just tap into everything that's happening around you. The music of the birds, the feeling of the sun on your skin, the aroma, the smells from different flowers or trees, the feeling of your feet on the ground. You just open your senses and it brings you into the present moment. So you're not in the past. You're not in the future. You're right here and now, and you've opened your senses to experiencing it. That's a wonderful exercise for bringing you into the present. And if you want to learn how to release some of this anxiety, or I used to have panic attacks too, is not a lot of fun. And I didn't have the techniques that I do now. There are somatic techniques that will release anxiety and ground you and help you feel peaceful so that you can start to check out what's going on within you. Another method that I use to connect with my body wisdom is muscle testing. There's so many techniques for it. I personally use a technique where I loop my thumbs and pointer fingers together, and then I connect them. I loop, one thumb and pointer finger over the other. So I have the two hands looped together. And for me, I ask a yes question, or I would just say a statement. My name is MarBeth, and it holds together. But if I said, my name is Christopher, it does not. It pulls apart. So that is another method that I use to connect with my inner knowing.
Wow, I love that. That is so powerful. And MarBeth, when you look at the healing process, I guess it's not like one size fits all. Everyone's different. Different. We have male, female. We got people at different ages, and some other people's bodies and minds can heal faster than others and stuff like that. So I guess there's no specific time frame on healing. It really is. I guess what it comes down to, as long as that we are committed, accountable, and consistent to what we have to do to move it along. Would that be safe to say?
I would say that's very safe to say. Yeah. And I will also say that we're all in different states of readiness for healing. I was urgently in need of healing. I had uncontrolled asthma, and especially when I would push to try to get answers that I wasn't ready to receive, my body kept trying to warn me, like, stop here, don't move forward. But I didn't know to ask the question, is it safe? Or it's safe for me to learn more about that. And one of the things that I really emphasize in my book is that you need to make sure that you are safe. Now, we talk about people being in the body, but most people are either up in their heads or not even in their heads. They're somewhere out in the field. The expression, I'm just beside myself. Well, you know where that comes from. You're just not in the body because of trauma from a previous existence in your life, you experience trauma. It may not feel safe for you to be in the body because it feels uncomfortable. You're going to be feeling feelings that you may not want to, or that kind of freak you out to feel them. And so it feels safer to be up in your head or out of your body. And that we're talking about your awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. So in terms of, like somatic healing and intuitive energy, like, is it a combination of both, or how do those work together, or is it one over the other?
Well, there are people who practice somatic healing, and I practice energy healing because I find it to be part of somatic healing.
Yeah.
And everything from Reiki to Tai Chi or Qigong, when you're even if you're just a runner, when you are running and you feel that runner's high, you are basically you're releasing energy and anxiety and stress through the running that you're doing. You are embodying, you're in your body, you're experiencing it, right? And in yoga, it's another way of embodying the yoga. As you're doing it, you're focusing on your body, you're in your body. When you do breathing exercises, it brings you into your body. And so there are many ways that we are, without even knowing it, using somatic healing. But there are, specific exercises that will help you to release anxiety. And one that I love, I learned in Qigong, and that is just to shake it off. Now, Taylor Swift talks about shaking it off.
Yeah.
In Qigong, we bounce up and down on our heels, and we just shake every part of our body from our heads to our shoulders and our arms, and we're bouncing up and down for a couple of minutes to release the stress and release any toxic energy that we may have gathered during the day. It's a great way to release stress. And they recommend it in the evenings, just to start to relax, to shake off all of the stuff from the day. That's my technical term.
I think it's great. I usually, will do a gratitude list, before I go to bed, or sometimes I do a body scan meditation. And like you said, it does. I'm not shaking it, but I'm doing, I'm kind of like constricting and just letting go, letting that stress or any pressure that might have built up in my body kind of out to the best of my ability. And
it's a great practice. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. Love that. So, what would you recommend? Like, we also have an audience here that they're in business and they run businesses. We have business owners and business leaders, people running corporate teams and here at Business Influencers. And a lot of times, like they may think they're achieving work-life balance. I don't even like that word. I like to call it harmony. But where could this healing process, even though it doesn't have to be something where they have a major issue they have to resolve, it could just be something just to kind of like what you said, just shake it off each day, that type of thing. What things they can be doing to help them, which can keep them more have more clarity, more focus, and the ability to solve more challenges and create more solutions?
Well, that's really a great question, Chris. And I don't know if you know this, but because people are so stressed and anxious, and they do bring all of their issues from home, they don't really compartmentalize as well as people might like them to. So they basically their issues are affecting their work. And it actually results in a loss of millions of dollars a year in the fact that people are not able to function as well as they could because they're carrying stress from home. Maybe they have illness. Then people are afraid to stay home with their illness because they need to keep working. So that also takes a toll. And they are really bringing a lot of these issues into the work. So I think it would be really good for employers to help their employees say, these are some ways that you can process the emotions of stress or anxiety or previous trauma. Here's some easy ways to do that. And bringing somatic healing into the workplace to help them, even just giving them a couple of somatic exercises to do to start the day, maybe with some breath work. There's so many different kinds of breathing exercises, from yoga and Qigong and just and therapeutic exercises. I know as a Kundalini yoga instructor, I learned probably 100 different kinds of breathing exercises. And it's just really important to help you, A, bring you into the body, B, to ground you, and 3, just really feel better. Because when you're anxious, you're up in your head. You're
Yeah.
not in your body. Your mind is just racing and thinking about all the what ifs. It's not in your body, but you can slow it down. And there's some very simple exercises that can help you take charge of that. For example, there's something called the butterfly hug, where you would link your thumbs and then your hand looks like a butterfly and you put it right underneath your clavicle, your thumbs. And then you just tap, breathe deeply. And as you're breathing, you just tap, tap, tap with your hands to either side of your chest. And you notice when you do this, you start to drop into your body. You start to feel calm and peace. And it's a really powerful exercise.
Wow, I love that. Great information that you've shared here. Just love what you're doing. Now, as we get towards the end of the show, where I know I want you to let people know where to find you. I just wanted to see if you if you have like a minute and a half, you can just wrap up, just high level. What would be the next steps? People listening to the show and those listening, what they can do now, no matter where they are, what they're going through, how, again, giving them that, I guess, that little push, so to speak, that they can heal from within. Just, again, get the right guidance, reaching out to people like yourself to help them embark on a new journey towards, well-being.
Well, my book, Awaken the Healer Within, is a roadmap with so many healing exercises and examples of experiences that people had from relationship issues and being an empath or a highly sensitive person like I am. There's just so many ways to help yourself. And I think it's also a great addition. Even if you are seeing a counselor or a therapist, you have access to something that can really help you to come into yourself, to learn how to develop that connection with your body and your internal compass.
Oh, I love it. Love it. And if you could just, I want to thank you, MarBeth, for being here on the show, taking the time out of your schedule to be here. If you could let the audience know how can they get in touch with you? What are you up to and anything that you'd like to offer them?
Oh, you're so sweet. I have a free book on 5 somatic exercises. I don't remember the exact title, but it's on my website and it's free. So you can just basically get started with 5 somatic exercises that can help you. And also comes with a free meditation. And my website is MarBethDunn.com.
All right. And we'll make sure, everybody, that MarBeth's information will also be in the show notes, so that way you can reach out. And, of course, you could always reach out to us as well, and we'll make sure to connect you with MarBeth. And we highly encourage you to do so. I know her personally, and definitely someone you definitely want to know. Thank you, MarBeth, again, for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you, Chris.
And thank you, listeners, joining us here at Business Influencers. Again, we are committed each and every week in bringing in subject matter experts like MarBeth in to share their words of wisdom and insights to help elevate you and your level of influence to the next level. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week at the same time. Take care.